Get up and get going, kiddos. It is noon on a Friday, a football Friday, a fair Friday. Are you ready, Tyler Head?
Ready as I can be.
What's the first thing you plan to do? Like, everybody's got... Now, you're new. You're slightly new.
Yeah,
You've been to a fair, though.
I've been to a fair. I've not been to this fair.
Okay. All right. Most people have a plan. Most people have a little plan of attack. They're like, all right, I don't know what your fair food is. We're going to get into that today.
Yep.
But there is the corn dogs, and all of a sudden I'm blanking again on the name. There's the Fisk fries.
Korean corn dog that we talked about the other day?
No.
Or it's the really long corn dog?
Yeah, not the Korean corn dog. No, there's like a fair food that a corn dog, a turkey leg, maybe a hero,
Sure.
A fried mushroom, something that I would say is normal that everybody is attracted to. And my question to you would be, what is the direct line as soon as you get in to try that? Because you mentioned you're not really a ride kind of guy.
No, I may play some games or something, but I don't need to get on a roller coaster or whatever they have in there. That's not really. I was never a big roller coaster person to begin with.
Yeah.
And then my wife and I went to Disney on our honeymoon 2 years ago. Disney is full of roller coasters.
Right.
To which she very promptly put me on a couple our first day there, and I very quickly decided, I'm still not into roller coasters, and did not ride any more of the rest. I went on some of the other slow rides, but twists and turns and ups and downs. Yeah, that ain't for me.
No, I'm with you on that. I'm exactly with you on that. I was never a huge roller coaster guy. It never really got to me. My kind of speed is the Pirates of the Caribbean ride.
Okay.
Down in Disney World, something like that.
Yeah.
The teacups.
Yeah.
I get on board with the teacups.
Slow a little bit, not a whole lot of action necessarily.
But have you kind of narrowed out? Are you a fried mushroom guy?
I'm not a mushroom guy at all. That's not. It's gonna be a no for me.
Are you a French fry guy?
I love French fries. I've heard the Frisk fries are very salty, which is right up my alley.
Okay.
I love anything salty. So definitely gonna go for that. And it's got to be something like the burger, corn dog, or the pickle pizza.
Oh, so you're gonna go big early.
I'm gonna go big early. That I got to start off with something, and then, depending on how full I get from that, determines what else happens.
Okay. All right. Well, we will talk some fair food. I think, and this is just me speaking, I don't speak for Tyler, I don't speak for Captain Dave, I don't speak for anybody else here at Cumulus. I think it's going to be a phenomenal weekend. The weather is going to be great. Look, there's a nostalgia to the fair being in town, and it's going to be a fair game. It's our first opportunity to see Oklahoma. Oklahoma is at least coming in with a 5-1 record and a number next to their name, a number 14 ranking. So at least you get that going. The weather, as I just mentioned, even today is phenomenal. Tyler, there's something about a mid-October fall football Friday that really stands out, and I feel like it's all coming together. And yes, Tyler, you're learning me. It's a noon game.
It is
it's
an
early.
Well, 12:45, but still, it kicks off in the noon hour.
And therefore, I can get up and go tailgate kind of early, maybe hit some biscuits. Maybe some of y'all are going to take the Blackstone out, and you're going to do some eggs and bacon and maybe have some biscuits ready. You're going to do hash browns or something. Maybe you got Bloody Marys or mimosas lined up. Maybe you're going to go a little bit stronger than that right off the bat. But it just, to me, Tyler, and last night I didn't get into a whole lot of college football. I did watch East Carolina and Tulsa. I stayed a little bit more with the baseball games. You and I were just talking off air. Mm-hmm. I went down the path of the NFL games. Tonight, though, I've got to told you they're just on upset alert. This is that game that Mario Cristobal, he should win the football game, right? This is what he should do. He should win the football game. He's winning with 10 seconds to go.
Yep.
All he's got to do is take a knee, and he runs the football, and they fumble, and Georgia Tech runs it. It's Louisville tonight.
It happens at least once a year. That's just the standard Mario Cristobal. Also tonight, my favorite rivalry trophy in college football is being fought over. Are you aware of what this is? It's Big Ten game.
Big Ten.
Nebraska, Minnesota. It is the 5 bits of broken chair trophy.
Yeah. You
Yes.
have told me this.
Yes, that is tonight. That is on the line tonight. Now, I don't think the schools officially recognize it anymore, but it counts to me. It's the number one on my list.
I understand. So, Minnesota, Nebraska. So, that's tonight?
That's tonight.
I haven't completely dug into the Friday night schedule. I mean, Friday night, we've got, like I said, folks, ladies, gentlemen, right now, this is shaping up to be one of my favorite weekends of the last several weeks. We have good football that begins tonight. Taking place for college football.
Also, if you want to watch North Carolina play Cal, you can see that too. Maybe morbid curiosity.
It might be your final Bill Belichick viewing experience. Your final Bill Belichick coaching viewing experience. I do think somebody will hire him for media. But if you at 10:30 tonight, slight nap, keep an eye on it. I'm telling you that very well. If Cal blows them out, and that's possible.
Yeah.
And let me also tell you this. Man, I'm not going to try and I'm going to look up his name again one more time to try and give it my best pronunciation guide here. As we all know, if you've listened for 9 years, name pronunciation, not my strong suit, not even in the closest. Jaron Kawami Sagiapla.
Sure.
I added a lot of letters that are
close enough.
The quarterback for Cal is fun, exciting. You don't know what's going to happen. He might scramble backwards 52 yards, run 50 yards the other direction, and then throw an interception. Like, he's fun to watch.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a game that you just be like, oh, Cal and North Carolina. There's storylines for a 10:30 North Carolina Cal game tonight.
It has the potential to be like one of those beautiful disaster type games. Like, it might be the ugliest game of football you've ever seen, but two teams that might actually kind of be close to one another that could just play a weird slog of a game that keeps you entertained until 2 a.m.
Yeah. And then you just fight through. You get up in the morning, get up at about 7 a.m., get the car packed, get the car flags up, get the Blackstone in, or swing by the local establishment and pick up yourself some delicious biscuits or whatever. Like I said, I'm all in on the weekend. And The more I looked last night at the college football slate, I'm all in on the slate. There was a game last night. So I do the pick'em. You do the pick'em for Gamecock Central.
Yep.
I do the pick'em with thebigspur.com. And just lost in kind of the mix, lost in my excitement of South Carolina, Oklahoma, the fair, lost in some of the excitement. I missed what I think might be one of the best games of the year.
Okay.
Can you name it? 8 o'clock tomorrow night.
8 o'clock
Big 12 game.
Oh, the Holy War.
Yes.
BYU and Utah.
That is, if you never watched that, treat yourself. It will be, so as I was doing last night, as I was doing the pick'ems for thebigspur.com, I kept having I kept using adjectives to describe each game. The Holy War, I think, is going to be the most physical game.
Yeah, it's a good chance of that. Yep.
I think that Georgia, Mississippi is going to be the most exciting game.
Okay. Now, what counts for excitement for you? What are your excitement points?
I think it's back and forth. I think Lane Kiffin's doing all kinds of crazy stuff. I think Kirby Smart's getting agitated over there. We'll give our picks later, but I just think I think it's going to be a little high scoring.
Okay.
I think it's going to be a great game over in Athens. I'm looking forward to that. And as we go through the day, we'll obviously talk South Carolina and Oklahoma. But Tyler, my adjective for that, it's not good.
On both sides or one side?
Both sides. The game itself.
Yeah, I'll give my score prediction again, I guess, at the end of the show. I'm not expecting a 5-star classic here. I'm not. This is not, for one, there's a reason certain games get put at 12:45 on the SEC network. Those are games that the vast majority of the public's probably not going to want to watch.
We didn't know that. Remember, I agree with you, but remember, this was set. Of course, it could have been ABC.
You could have gotten more of a prime viewing opportunity if this game was attractive enough. But the SEC Network was created for a reason for these games in each time slot. So 12:45, 4:15, and 7:45 as the least desirable option of the other games going on at that point in time. And yes, I don't think anybody outside of the Sooner or Gamecock bubble is making this game appointment television, because I expect it to be pretty ugly. Last week's game was pretty ugly. I expect something kind of similar.
All right, so you and I are on the same page?
Yes.
This very well could be the ugliest game of the day tomorrow.
It might. Again, 17 may be the point threshold to get to for the winner.
Todd Ellis gave a stat last night, so I don't want to steal from him. But Todd Ellis gave a stat. Oklahoma has played 10 SEC games so far in their tenure.
Yep.
Do you know how many times they've scored 20 or more points? Or, excuse me, how many times they've scored fewer than 10 or more points in their SEC games? Now, mind you, last year the offense wasn't very
the offense
good,
was bad.
So it skewed a tad.
Can already think of two, because that was last week, and then when Carolina beat them last year, only giving up 9 points. I'll go 4.
Very good. Look at you. You might have been paying attention or not. Yeah, Oklahoma is not a scoring juggernaut right now. And so I will have to look at the over-under, and see what that is. But
it was 43.5 last time I checked, which I thought was pretty darn high.
Yeah, it does seem a little high. So we'll get into that. Again, phenomenal night of college football. Miami and Louisville. You mentioned Minnesota and Nebraska. There's a chair on the line, although it's broken and it's bits.
There's $5 bills taped underneath it. It's phenomenal.
And then North Carolina and California. So you get a great night. We'll have a great night. Absolutely phenomenal night of high school football to get to. Major League Baseball last night. The Brewers and the Dodgers kind of lived up to it. Mariners and Blue Jays are not getting it's a good series. Good series. They are not good games.
Yeah, neither game has really been overly competitive. It's one team just scoring a ton of runs and pitching well, and the other team not doing that. And again, it started off with the Mariners. Now it's gone back to Toronto. And again, this has the makings of being a 7-game series, and we may not get a single high quality, actual fun game to watch during that period of time.
But last night, the Dodgers go up 3-1. They are on the verge of sweeping tonight. They'll get the 8:38 game. Shohei Ohtani. Boy, is he stink at the plate right now.
Yeah, I know, there can be a correlation between focusing on pitching and not doing well at the plate. But yeah, it's been a little bit of a rocky postseason for him so far.
So we'll get into a lot of that today. We'll get into the South Carolina game and Oklahoma, because there's a lot to dig into. There is a lot to dig into. Tyler and I kind of discussed this yesterday. There is a lot that we need to get into regarding that game, and we will certainly do that. Availability reports out.
Some surprises.
I'm shocked, and I'm not in a bad way. We'll talk about that. There's a lot to do when we come back. What are you expecting from the offensive line? There's an availability report out that has me, I would say, intrigued, very intrigued. And we'll let you hear from Shane Beamer last night talking about Sean Elliott. You're listening to Tyler Head, Bill Gunner. It's Captain David Ayer. It's a Football Friday. We're going to have a blast. If you want to weigh in, 803-404-6100. Send your predictions in. Let's get some predictions going here. You can text them in, 803-404-6100, or you can call them in and tell us why you think South Carolina and or Oklahoma pulls off the victory tomorrow. I want to hear your assessment, too, of the offensive line. So don't worry. It's past noon. Work production drops by a significant amount at this point. If you call in and your boss looks at you, just tell them you're busy, you're on the phone with the game, you don't have time to do any work. But give us a shout today or text in 803-404-6100. We got a lot of time and a lot of excitement and a lot of great things to talk about. You're listening to the Halftime Show. Let's see where your vibe check is today. Send us in your predictions. 803-404-6100. What is your vibe check? Do you feel South Carolina winning tomorrow? Do you feel South Carolina losing tomorrow? Do you feel South Carolina getting blown out tomorrow? Do you just feel like a corn dog tomorrow?
I don't think either team's going to get blown out in this game. I just don't think there's enough points offensively either way for this to get out of hand. I think Carolina's going to have a chance. I don't know if I feel them winning this game, but they're going to be in it at the very least.
Let's start with this. Sativa goes with super positive vibes going out. South Carolina, 28. Oklahoma, 16.
Now, I need to know how you get 28 points because this offense has only scored 21 total as far as his best overall production.
Good special teams.
Special teams, defense, got to scoop and score, pick six. Something's got to factor in there for getting to 28 points.
Joey weighed in earlier on our question. What do you go to first? Polish sausage dog and the pig races at the fair.
Okay.
Good call.
I don't know if I'd go Polish sausage dog first, but I could get behind it.
Okay. 803-404-6100. Availability report. Brian Edwards, by the way, coming up here in about 10 minutes. Availability report came out last night.
Yep.
Tyler, I'm overly excited. I just feel good. I feel as good, truthfully, as I've felt in about 2 months. I'm very happy. I'm in a good mood. I'm excited about a noon game. There is something about the change to Sean Elliott that has rejuvenated me.
Yep.
Rejuvenated me. I can't speak for you. I can't speak for Captain Dave. I can't speak for our listeners. There's something about the change to Sean Elliott that's rejuvenated me, and he may well let me down tomorrow. It may not be time.
Yep.
He may not have enough time to get what he wants in. But the availability report came out last night, and this was fascinating. This was really fascinating to me. Marky Anderson has magically healed and practiced 2 days.
Yep.
Why is that fascinating? Why does that matter? I think Marky Anderson might be the best center on the football team. And I think that's the direction. Now, what Sean Elliott sees and what he goes with, I don't know. But I personally would love to see Marky Anderson trot out there tomorrow at center. Shane Beamer did say yesterday that Shed Surratt practiced a little bit yesterday. He's not going to be 100%, but that he practiced a little bit yesterday. Tyler, I just, there's something, I'm not saying this line's going to come out and maul Oklahoma and stop them from getting multiple sacks, but I want to see Marky Anderson at center tomorrow.
I mean, it's not a bad option to give it a shot, right? Again, you're down Nolan Hay. He's out. So your options, as they were last week, were Rodney Newsome and Boaz Stanley. And again, we've seen a lot of not great center play from both those guys so far this year. So, yeah, if you feel like Marky Anderson is healthy enough and able to do it, then why not? It doesn't hurt. And, again, if he goes out there and it's bad, well, at least you tried, and then you have those other guys you can turn back to. But at this point, there's nothing on this offensive line that I feel like should be off the table. If you have the ability to play a different position, move guys around, do it. Again, you're a little bit limited on bodies because of, certain guys' availability and all that kind of stuff. But no, I would not, like, if Sean Elliott decided to just really shuffle the deck tomorrow and had a radically different looking offensive line and it didn't work, I wouldn't be mad at him because at least you're trying something, right? Like at least you're going out there saying, hey, what we've done up to this point is not working. Let's try something radically different, which I don't know if they're going to do or not, but I don't think anybody should be upset if that happens and it still doesn't get better because at least you're trying something.
No, that is a great point, and I think people would agree with you. I got a lot of questions out there. Send us your score predictions. Send us your vibe check. Send us your thoughts on that. Would you be happy just seeing a new offense? Like, again, Marky Anderson, to me, give him a chance.
Why not?
Lord knows, give him a chance. Shed Surratt, we'll see what his health is. I think that's one you got to keep an eye on there. If not, maybe go with Rodney Newsome over there at the guard position.
Sharp played last week.
Nick
Sharp's an option.
Is another option. Look, I'm okay with Tree Babalade there. I'm okay with Trovon Ball. I'm okay with the other one is Josiah Thompson and Jatavius Showers.
Yes.
And what does Sean Elliott see from them? That's going to be the fun part tomorrow. Is Sean Elliott through his viewpoint see things entirely different than what Lonnie Teasley did? And I don't want to say this because I think this is unfair. and I think this is a really lazy take when people say this, but when they talk about coaches playing favorites. But I do wonder if Sean Elliott has watched some of this and been like, you know all this. Sean Elliott standing on the sideline on 3rd and 4, and Josiah Thompson gets blown up. He goes, I wouldn't have had him in there.
Yeah, and a lot of times when you see these coaching changes be made, you'll have the guy stepping into an interim role that has ideas of, hey, here's how I would have been doing it. Let's make those changes. And again, we're not going to see until tomorrow, and roughly 30 minutes before kickoff, whoever that starting 5 unit is going through warm-ups, that'll tell you if things have really changed or not. But I got to imagine there's been a few things that Sean Elliott's probably looked at as a former offensive line coach himself, saying, hey, I would have probably done this a little bit different. Again, you respect your fellow coach and Lonnie Teasley and not trying to step on his toes. I'm sure suggestions were made, but Teasley had his reasoning for having what he had out there. But I got to imagine there's some things that Sean Elliott probably wanted to do differently, and we'll see if that happens tomorrow.
803-404-6100. We'll get into more of this as we go through the afternoon because there's a lot to get to. Again, if you want to weigh in this afternoon, Beth from Lamar. Beth, I heard you last night on the Carolina
Bring in
Calls.
some luck, superstition to Coach Beamer. Hopefully it works out.
Heard that. By the way, Beth told me the other day that I yell.
I don't think so.
Okay. Yeah, Beth said I'm a screamer. Beth said she said
microphones are sensitive depending on how close you are to it.
But I heard you, Beth, last night. Beth down in Lamar trying to bring the good luck. She goes South Carolina 17, Oklahoma 10. There we go. Nick goes, is there any way we see Josiah Thompson shifted? I don't think you see him shifted unless by shifted you mean from left tackle to bench.
Yeah, it's either he's playing or he's not. I don't think there's other options. I don't even know what his versatility is in terms of playing the interior. I don't think he would do that anyway. But yeah, if it's not working at left tackle, I don't think you're bumping him over to right tackle.
Jacob goes with, I got Oklahoma winning 20-6. This game will make it obvious that Shula will be done at the end of the year. We won't gain over 200 yards. Justin, I don't know if I agree with Justin here just because of the numbers here, but he says 28-17 OU until the offense shows me something. I don't see them scoring. He's talking about South Carolina. I don't see them scoring 20 points. Oklahoma has not scored 28 points in an SEC game yet. And
that's a little high.
I don't see them doing it tomorrow.
But I get your reasoning for Carolina's offense that until proven otherwise, you're just going to have to assume what the numbers are. So I can understand that.
Keep sending them in. 803-404-6100. Wesley does ask, is Case and Henry going to play tomorrow? No.
Nope, he's out.
He is out. We'll come back. Brian Edwards due up with us next. It's the halftime show. Bill Gunner from Mid-State Roofing, where for nearly 30 years they've been the leader, the proven leader in the roofing and waterproofing industry. And, you hear me talk about it on a daily basis about why they have been the leader in the roofing and waterproofing business. And the reason is customer service, making sure your customers are well taken care of. And whether it's your home or your business, Mid-State Roofing is there to make sure that if you have a leak, well, they're going to take a peek and they're going to get it taken care of. And even more importantly, Mid-State Roofing is there for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That's right. You can give them a phone call at midnight. You can give them a phone call at 12 p.m. And guess what? You're going to speak with an on-call technician or a Mid-State Roofing employee. They're going to help you with a maintenance contract. So if you've got a leak, let Mid-State Roofing take a peek. Call them today. Tell them Bill Gunner sent you. If you're just getting off and heading to lunch, you know what? There's no real reason to go back to work today. Just enjoy the rest of the day and go say it's a beautiful day. Go sit outside.
Yeah.
Maybe, just maybe, go purchase you a craft beer card from 107.5 The Game. It's our fall craft beer card, just $59. You can save up to around $300. You can have an IPA.
You can.
You can start getting ready for the evening.
You can also have an IPA over at Krager Showrooms with Jay and Terry today from 3 until 6. Okay. You can have some food from Coyote Grills out there, Savage Craft Beer. Get your weekend started, man.
I'm telling you, this is fun. This is what we love about college football. I know South Carolina's 3-3. I got it. But this is fun, and this is going to be a fun weekend. And joining us now to get the fun really, really started is our one and only good friend, Brian Edwards of VegasInsider.com and MajorWager.com. And, Brian, we have just been treated, it feels like, on a week-in, week-out basis to absolutely incredible college football.
We got Brian on.
Am I?
There we go.
Can you hear me?
Yep, good to go. Go ahead.
Yeah. It's been a fun season so far, and I think it's wide open. The SEC is certainly wide open, and South Carolina with a win can set itself up to still have a pretty good season.
So you got a bunch of them here this week. You seem to like a bunch of these games, and let's get into these here a little bit and see what you got to think. And let's start with tonight, one of Tyler's favorite all-time college football games. Because
the best trophy is the $5 Bits of Broken Chair trophy between Minnesota and Nebraska that they're playing for tonight.
And I like the home team. The Gophers, they haven't really played anybody at home. It's overly good, and but they are 4-0 at home this year, and they've won 6 of their last 7 at home, and the only loss was a 26-25 loss to 4th-ranked Penn State as an 11.5-point underdog last November. So I think this line is off. I mean, I made Nebraska a 4.5-point favorite. It was 7.5 at last look. Let me see what we got here. I'm looking now. Yeah, it looks like 7.5 still at most spots. There's a few 7s, but you still get 7.5 at a lot of places. And Minnesota's won 5 in a row in this rivalry. And, Oh, and what I also wanted to add, the Cornhuskers, since 2018, they are 3-8 against the spread as road favorites. So I will go with the Gophers as home dogs.
Big game in the SEC, third Saturday in October. Alabama playing host to Tennessee. I feel like this game either is a high-scoring shootout or Alabama runs away with it. You may lean towards the latter because Alabama is the 8-point favorite here.
Well, it might be both of those, actually, because Tennessee is number 1 in the country in scoring offense, so they're going to score points. What's been disappointing about the Vols, to me, is their defense. I thought they were going to have an elite defense. They only gave up 16.1 points per game last year, and they brought back 8 starters, although, in fairness, they've had injuries in the secondary. Ricky Gibson, starting corner, out for the season, and then Jermod McCoy, a third-team All-American, he tore his ACL in January. He's not quite back yet. So Tennessee's 15th in the SEC in scoring defense, 108 in the nation, even worse, 124 out of 136 FBS teams in pass defense. Arkansas went up and down the field on them last week with 29 first downs and 496 yards, and coulda, woulda, shoulda won that game. They fumbled it away. They fumbled 3 times and were -3 in turnover margin. But Bama's won 5 in a row. 4-0-1 ATS in the stretch. Ty Simpson is getting better every week. 16-1 TDI-INT ratio, and I think he's going to light up that Vols secondary. I think Bama wins by 2 touchdowns. Tennessee's offense will keep them in the game for a while, but over the course of 60 minutes, I think Bama will get some separation and cover.
You mentioned those fumbles somewhere. Sam Pittman's like, see, not my fault. I wasn't to blame for that. Your boys, is this it for Billy Napier? And you like Mississippi State tomorrow, and you're gonna do a little number changing here to get the number you really like.
Yeah, it's still 9.5 at most books. So let's buy that half point to the key number of 10. Hopefully, it'll only cost -120 juice. Never a bad idea to fade Napier as a favorite at Florida. During his tenure, he's 4-9 against the spread as a home favorite. It's a small sample size, but Jeff Lebby is a road underdog at Mississippi State is 4-2 against the spread. The spot favors Mississippi State. They've had 2 weeks to prepare. Florida, obviously is, dealing with the rumors of Napier's hot seat status. Whatever happens on Saturday, I just hope I wake up Sunday morning and the 4-year nightmare will be over.
I think there's a pretty good chance of that. Again, talking to Brian Edwards on the AAA Heat and Air phone lines from Vegas Insider and Major Wager. This is an interesting one. Late game tomorrow night. Florida State, who is limping into this one after 3 straight losses themselves, going all the way out to Palo Alto to take on Stanford, getting a massive number here. I think a lot of people might be with you in siding with the Cardinal here.
Yeah, FSU hasn't won outright on the road since their 2023 regular season finale at Florida, and their best wide receiver, Deuce Robinson, left last week's game against Pitt in the second quarter. He was listed questionable on the ACC availability report last night. He's got 25 catches for 443 yards and 3 touchdowns. But if he's able to go, I don't know that he's going to be 100%. Now, Stanford hasn't really played anybody at home, kind of like Minnesota, but they are undefeated at home. They beat Boston College by double digits as a double-digit underdog, and they beat San Jose State. And all the goodwill built back by Mike Norvell with the win over Bama is long gone. He's back on a boiling hot seat, and FSU seems to be unraveling a little bit. I like Stanford plus 18.
Let's go do a few player props for you real quick here. Let's start with the Georgia Tech Duke game. Haynes King over 68.5 yards rushing tomorrow.
Yeah, Georgia Tech has played 3 one-possession games this year. Duke's favored by 1.5, so, it's probably going to be a close game. And in the 3 one-possession games this year, Haynes King's got 103 rushing yards or more. The closer the game, the more attempts, the more designed runs, the more yards. I like Haynes King over 68.5 rushing yards.
Arkansas trying to play spoiler against Texas A&M. You like a couple of prop bets as far as rushing totals for Arkansas's Mike Washington and Taylon Green.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Mike Washington. I've seen it anywhere from 54.5 to 59.5 on his over-under for rushing yards. I'm going to go over. He's had 63 rushing yards or more in every single game. And with Petrino, I know Petrino's been calling plays the whole season, but last week was the first time he's also the head coach and calling the plays. And in that role, Washington had a season-high 19 attempts, season-high 131 rushing yards. I think we'll get a heavy dose of him tomorrow, and I think he'll go over in that 54.5 to 59.5 range on his rushing yards. And I'll also go Taylon Green over 52.5 on his rushing yards. Now, the fear is always, the sacks. Unlike the NFL, the sacks take away from your rushing yards. But he still had 63 last week, 81 the week before, 53 the week before, and 115 and 151. So the number's 52.5. He's had 53 rushing yards or more in 5 straight games.
Let's go to Vanderbilt and LSU here. And by the way, Brian Edwards of Vegas Insider, MajorWager.com. Make sure you check out that for your morning reading tomorrow to prepare yourself for any ideas that you may want to have before the game start at noon. So, again, MajorWager.com and Vegas Insider. But Vanderbilt taking on LSU. Vanderbilt favored in this game. But you, again, like some player props for Diego Pavia and Cedric Alexander.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Pavia over 53.5 rushing yards. He's had 58 rushing yards or more in 4 of Vandy's 6 games. And I'll also go Cedric Alexander over 47.5 rushing yards for him. He had 76 against Bama and 73 against Virginia Tech and 83 another game earlier this year. He had some low touches numbers on the blowouts against G5 teams, Georgia State and Utah State, so he went under those games. But against the better teams, he's done well, so we'll go over 47.5 for Cedric Alexander.
Let's jump to the NFL real quick. Got about 40 seconds with you. And one of the games you got Seattle's -3 at Houston.
Yeah, I'm going to go Seattle -3 Monday night against Houston. Let's also go Lions team total over 29.5. They've scored 31 or more in 9 of their last 10 home games and 42 or more in 5 of those 10 home games. Let's go Jackson Dart over. I've seen it 39.5 to 43.5 over his rushing yards. He's got 54, 55, and 58 in his 3 starts, and plus 340 anytime touchdown for Dart. He's scored a touchdown 2 of his first 3 starts.
Brian, that is a lot of information. We crammed it in, but, buddy, I appreciate it, man. You do a phenomenal job, and we may even catch up with you earlier next week to get a little bit of an update on the Florida situation, but we hope you have a incredible week.
All sounds great. Thanks, fellas. Y'all have a great weekend.
You too. A lot of great. We'll come back and recap some of those because we moved through those pretty quickly, but he's got a lot of games starting with tonight. We'll come back, do that, get some more thoughts on South Carolina and Oklahoma's offensive line and some predictions. It's the Halftime Show. Oh, it's going to be a bright and early morning for Tyler Head. 7:30 a.m. live from Jay's Corner, 10:15 Rosewood tomorrow for Gamecock Game Day Live. Who you got with you?
Elijah Campbell going to be hanging out with me tomorrow. Yeah, we'll be out there bright and early. It's probably going to be pretty chilly. The first game of the year, we were dying and needed one of those little oscillating fans to keep us cooled off for the hour and a half, 2 hours we were doing the show. Not going to need that tomorrow. I think, if anything, we need like a little space heater out there because it's probably going to be pretty chilly.
How you like doing the pregame? I did that for 3 or 4 years.
I enjoy it.
With Heath Klein, and we had a blast, but it was just time to move on. And but, yeah, you like it?
I do. I get so many notes throughout the week scouting for the next opponent that a lot of stuff I don't get to use during the week here. So I try and throw out everything that I possibly can over that show to get it all out there before the game starts.
Okay, yeah. Well, make sure you tune in tomorrow as you're heading down to the stadium, 7:30 a.m. live from Jay's Corner. Go by and have a water, have a coffee, but say hello.
Yeah, pace yourself. Pace yourself. It's gonna be a long day. Again, you can go to the fair after the game.
That's right.
Hopefully the game does not make you want to leave before it's over to go to the fair, because if the fair is busier than the game, then we've got a problem.
I've got a Twitter poll out. Tyler is tagged in it. You can go to @Will, W-I-L, Gunter, G-U-N-T-E-R. Again, @Will, W-I-L, Gunter, G-U-N-T-E-R. Because I'm kind of interested. Listen, I can't speak for everybody. I can speak for Bill Gunter. I'm excited. Like, it's been a while, and this counts Virginia Tech. It's been a while since I've been kind of this geeked up for a football game.
Okay.
Part of it, again, is the noon game.
I was going to ask if the time had anything to do with it.
The time has something to do, yes. If it was a 7:45 game, you'd hear me be like, oh, boy. But, yeah, noon game. I think the weather's going to be great. Again, the Sean Elliott experience I'm excited about. So I've got a poll question. Gamecock vibe check on a football Friday for tomorrow against Oklahoma. Is it time to get on track? Does South Carolina get Boomer Soonered? Or are you just going to the fair? Early votes coming in. A lot of people. Well, it just changed, 4%. 57% saying time to get on track.
Okay.
I'm with you, and we've got people weighing in on our text line. You can do so as well. 803-404-6100. Send in your text. What is your score prediction? And I also want to hear your predictions for the offensive line coming up tomorrow. But let's go here. Texter goes 27-17 Gamecocks. I'm assuming if you go more than 24, I can see South Carolina getting to. But if you go more than 24, you're counting on a defensive or special teams touchdown.
Yeah, you're getting a pick six. Bakari Swain's returning another punt. Again, I think a lot of us, until proven otherwise, just assume this offense is probably not going to eclipse 3 touchdowns themselves. I'd love to see that happen. That'd be great. And my goodness, because here's the thing, like last week, you ran the ball effectively against LSU, which was a good run defense to where you think, okay, maybe this is something that's budding now. If you could do everything well against Oklahoma's defense tomorrow, then you say, okay, well, maybe there's hope after all. And maybe it just took 6 weeks to get this thing in gear, for what you have coming down the stretch. So I wouldn't be opposed to that. I don't know if it's going to happen, but I like the way you think.
Big Logan out of Lexington, good friend of mine, he weighs in. He says, South Carolina 17-14, ugly game. But a late Matt Fuller touchdown provides the victory.
Okay, that I could very much see that score happening. That's very close to what my score is going to be for this one. But, yeah, I think it's a 4-quarter slog, points at a premium, and, a lot of defense.
Going with another one. Another texter goes South Carolina 30-21. 1 defensive touchdown, and Lenoris to Nick Harbor for a 55-yard touchdown. That's a great point. Let's come back to this. Let's put a pin on that.
All right.
The way Oklahoma blitzes, and you're going to get one-on-one coverage, and Oklahoma's corners are not LSU's corners, you're going to get those opportunities tomorrow in one-on-one situations.
Yes.
So there you go. 803-404-6100. Texter goes in with O-line plays inspired. Gamecocks 20-16 tomorrow. So right now, vibe check, well, except for this person, 38-12 Oklahoma. That's from Kevin.
Ooh,
Kevin weighing in. Vibe checks rolling. Hour 2 on the way.
Yeah, no, you're right. Really hard thing to do. You're talking about people and human beings and families that are involved in this process, and it's really, really hard. There's no question about it. Lonnie Teasley's a really good football coach. He's a great recruiter. He's a great person. And, when you're in a leadership position, sometimes you have to make decisions that negatively impact people you care about. But ultimately, I know that my responsibility is to the football program, and that there's people in our program and Gamecocks everywhere that are looking to me to, do things to get this program or the team this year where we need it to be. And felt like that was a change that I needed to make. Saturday night, Sunday was a long day as you deal throughout that process. But our players and how they responded, we talked about it. Change is not easy. And I believe that in life you have to be uncomfortable in order to grow. And certainly this week was a week that was not comfortable for a lot of people. But I think we've grown as a team this week. And the offensive linemen, they're the ones that have been directly impacted because that was their position coach. And I think they've responded the right way. The team's responded the right way. Sean, I believe, has done a great job this week, and looking forward to watching those guys compete on Saturday.
Those were the words last night of Shane Beamer talking about the offensive line, the changes. And you can say what you want, Tyler. You can say that's coach speak and that's politically correct talk. But it's a good insight into the mindset of Shane Beamer having to make a very difficult decision, because he's right. Like, Lonnie Teasley went from having a well-paying job, a prestigious job, to having nothing. And that's difficult. And, Lonnie Teasley has a family. I believe he has a family.
Yeah.
And, it's look, let's be honest, it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. Nobody wants to be fired. But you have to do what is right for the program. And I thought you heard Shane really walk that through very well with his mindset. That's kind of a very nice view into the mindset of Shane Beamer on how he handled everything.
And Beamer is a big relationship guy, right? Again, he's very open and honest about these kind of things, and I don't doubt the fact that he and Lonnie are probably pretty good friends with each other, at least have a really good relationship with each other, which is, why he held on to him for so long. And he gave him ample opportunity to turn things around. Again, 2 years ago, you had the offensive line injuries, and that was a part of the reason why they struggled so much in 2023, saying, okay, well, I'll give you a pass on that one. 2024 wasn't a whole lot better. He had a better running back in Rocket Sanders that could mask that a little bit, and obviously Lenore Sellers doing what he did to skirt around the shaky offensive line play. But you get into this season, your offense isn't performing as well. That highlights the struggles that you're having up front even more. And again, you had 6 games, and it didn't seem like things were getting any better. And obviously had to make the decision. Thankfully, you have somebody on the staff in Sean Elliott that has done it before here at South Carolina, no less, where you can make that transition easy. It's not a situation, and this is a different situation, but like when Travian Robinson was injured in his car accident, well, they went with Jordan Dove, who had never been a position coach before, but somebody that was an assistant and stepped up to that role and has done a fine job so far. But you feel even better when you have a guy that has quite literally done this job before at a high level, at the SEC level before, taking over and hopefully maybe making things better. Again, you've got a 6-game sample size. Trout, Sean Elliott, the offensive line coach, to see, hey, do we want to keep going with this, or do we want to go outside and make a hire in the offseason? So you have half a season to figure out if he's going to be the guy or not.
Yeah, and again, what does a new voice, and look, I'm not picking on Lonnie Teasley, nor am I picking on Sean Elliott, but a new level of energy bring to that room? Tyler, have you ever had a boss? Have you ever had anything where it goes from kind of a guy who's very even keel? Now, I'm not saying Lonnie Teasley didn't yell and get a little excited, but have you ever had a boss where it goes from it's very even keel and it's very laid back to, hey, man, settled up. Maybe one less cup of coffee this morning.
Yeah.
But that's what Sean Elliott is, and that's what they're going to get now starting moving forward.
It is, and I think there's a air of accountability as well to where, and again, I don't know how Lonnie Teasley looked at his players and stuff like that, if you had favorites or whatever it was, but you're kind of starting over from scratch now. What you did under Lonnie Teasley, the rapport you had with him, does not matter now. Sean Elliott, who again has been around and knows these guys too. It's not like he's a complete outside hire or something like that, but it's kind of like starting over from scratch. And you have to prove to Sean Elliott you deserve to be out there. You have to show him that you have the skills and ability to do what he needs to do, or else he can go out there and change things up. Because again, as a unit, you've not shown what you need to, so nothing's off the table in terms of change. So I hopefully this will make all those guys have to straighten up, put their best foot forward every single day, and hopefully that creates positive change on that unit.
Now, the availability report came out last night for South Carolina, came out for Oklahoma as well. Oklahoma, I can't say that I know to be a fact of whom's a starter, who's a backup, and who just is on the team. Oklahoma has 3 offensive linemen out: Troy Everett, Jacob Sexton, and Jake Taylor. Do you have that in front of you in terms of snaps played by these 3 guys?
These guys have all factored in at various points this year, but their main starting 5 unit does appear to still be intact.
Okay.
The biggest question was going to be Derek Simmons, who was their right tackle. They got injured early last week against Texas. He's not even on the availability report, so he'll be good to go. But for the most part, it's been the same unit they've been rocking with the entire year.
On the flip side of things, the biggest news from South Carolina, 2 big pieces of news last night. One of them was big news. The other one, it was something that I deemed a big news and thought was good. Brian Rowe Jr. is out now for the game. And there are things that I've been very disappointed with in the University of South Carolina football team this year. There are things that I've been impressed with.
Okay.
The wide receiver development, by and large, is one of the things that I have been impressed with. And Brian Rowe has started to slowly come on and show the athleticism and the speed and the playmaking that we expected. I still don't think he has completely been allowed to turn loose, but I do think South Carolina was developing a nice 3-man weapon with Vandravius Jacobs, Nick Harbor, and Brian Rowe Jr. And people go, well, why aren't we getting the ball to Nick Harbor more? Well, Nick Harbor's drawing double teams, which is opening up the door for Brian Rowe and for Vandravius Jacobs. Now, you have other guys. Is tomorrow a breakout game for Mazio Bennett? You look at a guy that early on was getting a lot of snaps, but it's kind of disappears, Donovan Murph. Is tomorrow his day to step up? Jared Brown has been around now. I know he's only been around for 2 years, but it feels like he's been around for a long time, and he's constantly injured. But is tomorrow a Jared Brown day? So you've got guys. So I don't look at that as a major loss. I look at it as a loss from the standpoint I was really excited. I've been excited to see the continuous development of Brian Rowe and where he's going and fitting into this wide receiving group.
I think the biggest thing with this is what happened, because he wasn't even on the availability report on Wednesday, so something clearly transpired in those next 24 hours to put him not just on the report, but be straight to out. So the question is, okay, what's this mean long term? Is it a short-term thing? What's the deal?
I thought about this. I thought about this, and I'm either going to be positive or I'm going to assume, you have the Thursday practice, a tweaked ankle.
Perhaps.
Like basically if you sprain your ankle on Thursday, it's hard to bounce back on Saturday.
Yeah.
Or a hamstring. And you hope it's not a hamstring, because if it's a hamstring, he's out a little bit longer. But the bottom line is that's kind of what I expect from him. Also yesterday, making a surprise appearance, although I don't know what people think about this, is defensive lineman Devontae Miles. That is important because one of the major issues that we have not talked about this year with South Carolina is defensive line depth. They don't have it.
They don't. They've been really only rotating with 4 guys, and Devontae Miles being the guy that's gotten the least amount of snaps so far this year. So if you could pull one guy to say, hey, he's not available, that would be your one. But still, you're talking about going into this weekend with only 3 guys that you've used regularly so far this year on your defense line, one of those being banged up, and Gabriel Brownlow-Denley, who's thankfully now up to probable and should be playing, which is good. But, yeah, you are extremely, extremely thin up there. So you got Gabriel Brownlow-Denley, you've got Monkel Goodwine, and you've got Nick Barrett. But that's really kind of it. Troy Pikes also gets in there as well. But, yeah, you're pretty darn thin up there.
Well, you got bodies. I don't know if you label them as thin.
In terms of the guys that have played this year.
What I would say is you don't have the quality depth that you did. I mean, they got bodies to throw out there, but you just mentioned it. Monkel Goodwine, Gabriel Brownlow-Denley, and Nick Barrett, I think, are 3 of the top 10 snap getters in the SEC. That was not the case last year. And that was also a reason You go back to last week, you go back to the Missouri game, that the defense was able to stand up in the fourth quarter with fresh guys. They've not been able to do it. And when you look at the transfer portal this coming offseason, I know they tried to address it with Miles, with Troy Pikes, with Brownlow Dindy. You're going to have to really hit that thing hard. Now, you do have some nice players coming in. Noah Clark, he's going to be a freshman. Christian Ingram is on the roster right now. I don't think that depth is a major issue moving forward, but I think you've got to have some quality, experienced depth there at that position. The one that surprised me and that excites me and that I'm hoping for, and yes, I'm going to be disappointed, if Marquis Anderson doesn't try it out at center tomorrow. I think he has been one of the better centers. He is considered one of the smarter football players on the football team. He was a guy that was highly recruited. It feels like he's kind of brought that unit together. Now, he didn't play much at center. He's kind of like Nolan Hay, right? Now, Nolan Hay didn't play much, and we went, seemed to be a little bit better. I would like to see Marquis Anderson at center tomorrow. I'd like to see Trevon Ball on one side. We'll see about Shed Surratt if he's injured or not. And then you got Tree Babalade and the other tackle. Does Sean Elliott lighting a fire under Josiah Thompson get the job done?
We'll see. Again, none of these options sound bad. Again, throw something at the wall and see if it sticks. No option's a bad option. And as I mentioned earlier, I don't think anybody in Gamecock fan would be upset if you got aggressive, made some radical changes, and it didn't work, because at least you're trying something. And, hey, maybe there's something in there that you hit on. I think more than anything else, you just hope, can we just not shoot ourselves in the foot before snaps where you're backing up 5 yards? Again, 5 pre-snap penalties on the offensive line alone last week. If you promise me right now they only have 1 combined tomorrow in 4 quarters of football, I'll take that. I'll say, okay, we've at least made a step in the right direction that way. Now you got to do it consistently, do it week after week after week, not just 1 week, because you did okay against Kentucky in that regard. But, yeah, if you can show improvement in that area, if nothing else, I'll consider that a positive.
803-404-6100. Send in your score predictions and send in your expectation for the offensive line. Score predictions, expectations for the offensive line. Real quick, Scott weighs in and says Oklahoma hasn't scored more than 2 offensive touchdowns in an SEC conference game since joining the league. First team to 20 wins, but unfortunately, I feel like we are on the short end of the stick and lose 2017. Still hoping Elliott can change, give the offense a shot in the arm.
I think that's where a lot of people's optimism is coming from. You mentioned your excitement for a multitude of reasons, but knowing that an area of your team that has struggled mightily did something to change it, did something that's going to be different this upcoming weekend. And again, to the naked eye, maybe it won't look very different, but you're knowing that they were addressing the problem, and you're excited about the potential upside of it.
Negative Nelly Justin, who doesn't listen to the statistics, goes with 42-3 Oklahoma.
I can feel with a lot of confidence saying I don't see any way either team gets into the 40s.
I was going to say, I'm not sure either team gets to the 40s. Yeah. He says Sellers will continue to show us his talent or lack thereof. 803-404-6100. Again, we got a poll question out for you this afternoon. You can go to Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, at Will, W-I-L, Gunter, G-U-N-T-E-R. It's the Gamecock Vibe Check on a Football Friday for tomorrow's game. Is it time to get on track, or is it time, or does South Carolina get Boomer Soonered, or are you just going to the fair? 57% saying time to get on track, 38% saying get Boomer Soonered.
Well, at least that many people aren't going to the fair.
4%.
Yeah.
4.8, 5%. 803-404-6100. Chris Deering joins us next. It's the Halftime Show. Bill Gunner for the Mortgage Guru. He's Jacob Crowder. He's with First Palmetto Bank. And you know what? Now is the time to be reaching out to him as we wrap up 2025 and to see what interest rates, what products, what things you can do to help save money. Now, that's if you're thinking about refinancing, and maybe some of you are. Maybe you've looked around and you see the interest rates and you think now's a good time to try and refinance those rates and get a little bit lower mortgage payment. Give Jacob Crowder a call today and see what he can do for you. 803-779-1005. That's how you can reach out to him and get in touch with him. Just tell him you heard it right here with Bill Gunner on 107.5 The Game. Maybe you're looking at building a home. Maybe you're looking at buying a home. Whatever you're doing, First Palmetto Bank has lots of great options like a no-nonsense construction loan that fits your needs. So, again, call the Mortgage Guru today and tell him Bill Gunner sent you. $120 on a Football Friday, and boy, does it get going tonight with another phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal high school night of football. The weather is going to be perfect. You're going to want to wear maybe a little jacket, have a blanket. But tell you what, it is going to be fantastic weather. And out and about to cover it and keep us updated is the one and only Chris Deering. Mr. Deering, how we doing this afternoon?
Man, we're doing great. You just hit it on the head. It's what I like to call a Chamber of Commerce weekend for weather here in Columbia. Mid-70s, low 80s, and temperatures dropping tonight for high school football. It does not get much better than what we're going to see tonight.
A lot to get to, so let's jump into them now. One of my doctors, I saw him on Monday, Dr. Steve Madden. His son plays for Dutch Fork, and while Dutch Fork is rolling along, all he could talk about was the upcoming showdown coming up at the end of the year. I believe it's Halloween night with Irmo. That's going to be a lot of fun. But tonight, Irmo has got to host White Knoll, and White Knoll's been playing a lot better.
Yeah, you look at that White Knoll team, they're playing really well. They had the lead against Dutch Fork last week going into the fourth quarter. And then I think a couple of turnovers got them, and Dutch Fork won pretty easily, 41-24. But I think the score going into that fourth quarter was 24-20 White Knoll. So they were right in the game and had some key mistakes in the fourth quarter. And, they're looking to make that region a jumbled mess if they can go over to Irmo tonight and pick up a win and get that thing in a three-way tie. So tough back-to-back weeks for White Knoll to play Dutch Fork last week and now get Irmo on the road this week. So that's going to be a good one, I think. I don't think this could be a blowout by any stretch of the imagination. So I expect that game to be close, much like the Dutch Fork game was. And, if somebody makes some mistakes late or things go awry in a short stretch, somebody's probably could take the lead and probably win that game. So I'm not going to that one, but definitely keeping my eye on what's happening over there at W.C. Hawkins Stadium.
I'll just say this, and I love good people at Irmo. I've got a lot of good friends there. Chris Staten is a graduate of Irmo. But I love it when Irmo is great because I dislike Irmo. That was my rival. And to see them back and playing the way they have the last few years, I love it. Absolutely phenomenal. And right, good game tonight, but really looking forward to that Halloween showdown with Dutch Fork. Let's stay right here in the Midlands. Gilbert America, 2-2 in region play. They're going to take on Brooklyn Casey tonight.
Well, that's where I'm going. I'm going to Gilbert America tonight. This should be a pretty decent game, I think, between teams that are really, jockeying for playoff position right now. Buys are on the line, home games are on the line, and you look at that Region 4A. I think Gray Collegiate has definitely got in good shape towards winning that region, and then you got North Augusta at 3-1. And their only losses to Gray Collegiate. But then you got Midland Valley, South Aiken, Gilbert, Brooklyn Casey all at 2-2. So this is going to be one of those games that determine, a lot of playoff implications. Brooklyn Casey had a big win last week over South Aiken. Their quarterback, Andrew Frick, played well. Their wide receiver, defensive back, Bennett Plain, had a really big night. He blocked two extra points. Had 180 yards receiving, 3 touchdowns, and they won that game 20-19. So his blocked extra points were pretty key in that game. So should be a good one. I think this is going to be probably more of a defensive battle than a lot of points being scored. Gilbert still does not have who they thought was going to be their starting quarterback. They've been having to plug and play at that position. That's made it tough. But the Gilbert defense has played well all season long. So I think this is going to be a really hard-nosed, hard-fought game. And I hadn't seen BC yet this year. Lewis Clyburn's the new coach over there. G.A. Mangus is helping coaching the quarterback. So looking forward to getting over there and seeing those guys for the first time this year.
Let's take a look at Lugoff Elgin and Westwood, two teams kind of going in different directions as far as region play goes. Westwood 2-1 in region play. Lugoff Elgin desperate need of a win, sitting at 1-3 right now.
Yeah, you look at that Lugoff Elgin team, and I almost sit here and scratch my head. see how they are 1-3 in the region. They have some talent. Eric Richardson, E.J. Richardson's been good at wide receiver, and looks like they've had to play him at running back here lately. Shamil Shadiq is one of the top receivers in the state as far as numbers goes, but they just haven't put it all together, it seems like. And they got shut out last week by Ridgeview. They got a tough one this week against Westwood. I think this Westwood team is, they're sort of on a mission. New coach has come in, lit a little bit of a fire on them. They got a really good rushing attack. So it's going to be interesting to see which direction this one goes in. I don't think Lugoff Elgin will be shut out again, but I think this Westwood team is playing well defensively, and you see what Lugoff Elgin can do and respond from getting shut out last week against Ridgeview.
He is. Chris Deering is the high school highlights of the week. We do it each and every Friday. Let's stay with one more game here in the Midlands, and it's a showdown. Unfortunately, not the big records and the big game you expect, but AC Flora and Dreher will take over the Midlands tonight.
Yeah, big rival game there. AC Flora is having a really good season, top 5 in 4A right now. Dreher has struggled a little bit. Corey Jenkins is in his second or third year at Dreher now, and he's trying to bring them back to where they were when he played. Which I'll show you how long I've been around. I covered Corey when he was at Dreher. Outstanding football and baseball player, but had a little bit of a struggle. One thing to watch in this game, Dreher's running back, who I think he's had a really great season. I think he's up close to 1,000 yards rushing. B.J. Mack, Brandon Mack, he transferred from AC Flora in the off season, so I know he wants to have a good game. I know these AC Flora guys also want to try to shut him down. Roper Winsky's had a great season at quarterback for AC Flora. He's got a lot of weapons on the outside. I think AC Flora should be hard to stop tonight, but it's a rival game. Never know what's going to happen in those type of situations, and should be a good atmosphere. We're at Memorial Stadium tonight.
About 2 more minutes here. Let's take a look at Hilton Head and May River. Both teams 2-0 in region play, looking to stay perfect.
Yeah, that was the game. I wrote about that game on our website, Prep Red Zone. 2 6-1 teams, undefeated in the region. May River. I didn't really know this until I started researching this game this week. May River has thrown 8 passes in 7 games.
Oh.
So you don't think they're going to air it out tonight for certain. Hilton Head is a little more balanced, but they also like to run the ball. This might be one of those games that it's over by 9:30 with no stoppages of the clock. Last year, Hilton Head won the game 23-10. This again, whoever wins this one is in control of that region. So that's going to be a big, step in the right direction for somebody tonight. This is one, again, down there in the Hilton Head area, but definitely one I'm going to be keeping my eye on tonight and see if May River takes to the air to try to beat Hilton Head, or they're going to line up and run. And I think I watched some huddle film of May River. It's an odd situation. They could be, for a team that don't see them often when we get to the playoffs, they could be a tough out because of the way they run the football.
We talk about Somerville a lot, but I tell you what, let's give a little love. I want to test your knowledge here tonight. 2 6-1 teams. Ware Shoals and Dixie take on each other tonight. All right, let's really test your knowledge. What do you got? 6-1 Dixie and 7-0 Ware Shoals.
Well, we actually are covering this game on our website, Prep Red Zone. Jed Blackwell's going over there. It's the top Class A game in the state this week. I will tell you, I don't know much about either one of those teams, but I can tell you from talking to Jed this week, he's really excited about going over to see that game. I think it's going to be a fantastic game. And from what I've been told, Ware Shoals has got some dudes. I'll read about them tonight when Jed files his story. But I think that game is going to be, I think that's the game of the night in Class A without question.
Chris, we appreciate it. We look forward to catching up next week and hope you have safe travels tonight.
All right, you guys have a great weekend. Talk to you guys next week.
Take care. We'll come back and move on to some more big picture college football. It's the Halftime Show.
Tyrod here for our friends over at Pro Swing Columbia. 2 locations out in Forest Drive as well as in Chapin. Weather's still pretty nice right now, but pretty soon it won't be. And you don't want to be out there on the actual golf course when it's freezing cold outside. You know where you can go and play golf in a temperature-controlled environment? It's with our friends over at Pro Swing. They have the Golf Zone simulators, which will allow you to play at courses all over the world. You can rent by the hour, and they also have memberships available as well. And when you're working on your golf game for when the courses open back up, coming up when the weather is nice, and you can also work on your swing there. They have free 30-minute swing evaluations, or you can get pointers and a blueprint of your swing and drills to work on as well to make you a better overall golfer. You can book online at proswingcolumbia.com or give them a call at 803-592-3916 for more information. Again, Pro Swing Columbia, 2 locations, Forest Acres and out in Chapin.
Come on, baby. It's a Friday. I don't think people want me giving advice.
It depends on what.
I was going to say, if you're out and about, if you're listening to us on your app, always download the 107.5 The Game app. You can take us anywhere. What was it? We had somebody listening in from, was it Kansas earlier this week?
Yeah. Somewhere, either Kansas or Missouri. I think he said Kansas City.
Kansas City.
But somewhere out there, Midwest.
People listening from Germany, had people listening from South Africa. You go and download our 107.5 The Game app. You can take us anywhere and listen at any point, anytime during the day and hear what we got to say. And then you can call in and weigh in on what you hear. But go to your app store on your smartphone, download the 107.5 The Game app, and join us each and every day. And I say that because if you're sitting at lunch right now, maybe you're sitting at a little establishment, and it's 1:36, and you're thinking, I don't want to go back to work. I say order a beverage and enjoy the after. Just start the weekend, Tyler, because high school games are going to be great tonight. Irmo White Knoll is going to be a blast over there. White Knoll is playing a lot better. Could have won that game against Dutch Fork. I mentioned it growing up. Irmo was a nuisance. They were a nemesis. They were a pain in the rear. They were annoying. That was my rival.
Okay.
It was back then the dam rivalry because of obviously the dam and the lake separating us and Irmo. But it's fun. It's fun when they're winning because it's just kind of that's your rival and I like seeing them win. And so I look forward to that one tonight and then several others that we mentioned that are going to be really good.
Any legendary Bill Gunner moments versus Irmo in anything?
Yes.
Yeah.
Not a good one.
Not a good one. No.
We beat Irmo, basketball, my junior or senior year. Senior year, I'm not real sure. I want to say it was my junior because they were good. They had Corey Hood. They had Patrick Hogan. They had Patrick Hogan went to Clemson to play baseball, pitched. They had a tight end, Ben Gray. Maybe somebody can remember out there who went to North Carolina State to play tight end. They were good.
Okay.
But Corey Hood was the point guard and stirred the drink and made the engine go. And we went over there and we lost. We lost on a very controversial call. They tackled one of our guys right in front of our bench. We lost 28-27 on a Friday night. And it was a very, very controversial. We thought we had to keep Bailey Harris calm there for a while. Referees absolutely blew it. But anyway, so they come back to Lexington later that year, and a monster game. And Lexington used to be packed out. There would be people ringing the court. It was a lot of fun. Well, anyway, we beat them, and we beat them late in the game. We hit a shot, within the last 20 seconds or something, and we won the game. And so this is what I learned my lesson, and this goes back to Virginia and Florida State, right?
Okay.
The storming. So, I'm excited. Didn't play much, but I'm excited. We run on the court. We're going to celebrate. We've beaten Irmo. That's our massive rival. And I get to half court, and the way that our old gym was set up was the student section was on the opposite end of us. And so you'd come off our bench and you'd kind of go toward the student section. And this is the moment. I go running out to celebrate, and it's a mass humanity of our students pouring out.
Oh, no.
And it's kind of, it's kind of one of those surreal moments where you realize I'm not a big dude.
Yeah, I'm going to get swallowed up here.
Yeah. And that was kind of my moment. Obviously didn't involve hitting a shot, playing a game, doing anything of that nature. But with that being said, good for Irmo and looking forward to that. You could get your tickets 2 weeks from today. 2 weeks from today, Irmo and Dutch Fork here. That'll be the game of the Midlands. And that has turned into an absolutely incredible rivalry here. I mean, it was always a rivalry, but it has turned into an incredible game. So good luck to everybody tonight. 803-404-6100. Let's see what some of y'all say. Roman weighs in on our text line. Sean Elliott will have a sizable impact. Offense will play with more physicality. Beamer effect of playing late in the season takes place. Defense bends but doesn't breaks. Gamecocks escape 28-24.
Again, 28. That's a lot. You're gonna need some help from your other two fastest of the game there, but I would take that.
Let's see. Another texter weighs in. Steven weighs in and says a lot of people are picking low scoring, and I can see why. For some strange reason, I see more points scored than think they're going to be. I see it as Gamecocks 31, Oklahoma 20.
Okay, you're being the contrarian to everybody else, so we'll see.
Ernest, he goes kind of with what us, 18-12. I guess just field goals. Field goals upon field goals upon field goals.
That was like when Georgia and Carolina played each other during the Spurrier years. It was always a weird score like that, 18-12, 16-12, 15-13, those kind of things, like those kind of games. Maybe there's a missed extra point. Maybe somebody goes for two at one point. Yeah, like just an odd game.
I assume Ernest is picking the Gamecocks, which says 18-12, ugly game, nothing but field goals, ugly game in that. Another texter just lets us know, keeps us updated on what's going on at the Beach House in Surfside. Welcome in from Surfside. See, there we go, listening on the app. Bourbon in hand, watching the Tide roll in. This week, no Roll Tide, but our Gamecocks, 21, Oklahoma 18.
Okay. Also, shout out to getting the weekend started already.
I'm all for it, buddy. Or ma'am, whomever you are. You are living the life. Keep on doing it. 803-404-6100. Let's go back to this text for a second because I am asking this question and I am fascinated to hear the answers because I think we can all speculate. I think we can all hope. That's what I'm doing. What is the impact of Sean Elliott tomorrow? Let me repeat what I think.
Okay.
I think there's talent there. I don't think this is a talent issue. I think it's a scheme issue. Now, I don't know if Sean Elliott can fix that. I think it's a fundamental and a technique. We had John Strickland on a couple weeks ago, and John Strickland talked about techniques and fundamentals. Mason Zandy talked a little bit about that at the beginning of the week. What kind of impact can Sean Elliott have tomorrow? And again, I'm with people. I don't expect South Carolina to come out and score 40 points tomorrow. But if they can move the ball effectively and you can protect Lenora Sellers, I think South Carolina wins this game, and I think South Carolina might win by a little bit more than we anticipate.
Do you think you can notice if they're playing with more edge, or do you think that's something that can be improved upon in a couple of days?
Yes.
You think so?
And the reason I say is because I think there's talent there.
Okay.
I think there's talent. I could very well be wrong. We could be sitting here on Monday, and we could be getting a bunch of text, and you could be going, Gunner, we got to get this wheel of punishment going in here. I'll try and get on that this weekend. You could say, no, you're completely wrong. I think the talent is there. Now, it does not help Shed Surratt's going to be banged up. It does not help that Josiah Thompson has played incredibly awful this year. But with all that being said, I do think there is talent there, and I think it can be small tweaks that maybe you don't necessarily see. So you're not going to see South Carolina run. I don't think you're going to see him run for 200 yards. The other question tomorrow is, how much of Matt Fuller do we see? We'll come back and we'll address that. We'll come back and address that. We'll wrap up hour number 2 here. Hour 3, we'll get into big picture college football. Kirk Cignetti is a rich man. How much do you really need to live in Bloomington, Indiana? Well, we'll find out. We'll tell you about that. You're listening to The Halftime Show. We're wrapping up hour number 2 here on the halftime show. Tyler Head, Bill Gunner, Captain Dave Adair, where we are just cruising right along. Thank you again to Chris Deering for joining us in the previous hour, or in this past hour. Thank you to Brian Edwards. Real quick, let's run back down Brian Edwards. If you're just tuning in, and Captain Dave does a phenomenal job. Nobody better than Captain Dave. Some people say he's the best producer ever in the history of the world.
Can't argue with that.
Absolute best ever in the hit. Like, just nobody does it quite like him. Just unbelievable. And he puts stuff up on our podcast page. You can go to 1075thegame.com and you can check out our stuff right there. And I normally try to tweet it out, but if you missed Brian Edwards just a little while ago, let's real quick, Tyler, run back down. And we're going to give our picks coming up in the next hour. We're going to go big picture college football. But Brian Edwards, real quick. Tonight, Tyler Head's favorite trophy game.
That's right.
Minnesota, Nebraska. Why again?
Because it's the battle for the $5 Bits of Broken Chair trophy that stemmed from a tweet from the Faux Pelini Twitter account that was one of the most popular parody college football accounts back in the day, between him and that person that ran the account and the Golden Gopher mascots Twitter.
Okay.
It's very much a new age thing, but I love the story behind it. It's not officially recognized by the schools anymore, but it still counts to me.
So Minnesota, Nebraska, part of a Friday night game. Good Friday night game, too. PJ Fleck, shine is off, right?
Yeah, he's just kind of fallen into that realm of being like a okay Big Ten coach. Again, they had a lot of momentum coming in when he came over from Western Michigan, and they've had some decent wins here and there, but he's kind of fallen into that middle ground of the Big Ten. It's like, okay, they could be like 8-4, they could be 4-8. You never really know.
Nebraska and Matt Rule. Is Matt Rule thinking about Penn State tonight? But Brian Edwards goes Minnesota plus the 7.5 against Nebraska. Tomorrow, Brian Edwards goes minus the 8 against Tennessee. His reasoning was actually pretty solid about how bad Tennessee's defense is, especially the pass defense and their willingness to give up rush yards.
Yeah, that's the one thing. You look at their win against Georgia, or loss against Georgia, high-scoring game against the Georgia offense is really not prone to scoring a lot of points, gave up. And I know Arkansas scored late to make that score look better, but still 31 points to Arkansas last week. Like, they're going to give up a lot of points to Alabama. Now, I do think they have an offense that's capable of scoring a lot themselves, which is why this could be kind of a back-and-forth game. This could also be the game where Alabama's defense really hits its stride and really locks them down. So I kind of see either outcome going there. I went with Alabama as my pick, and I don't know about the 8 number, but it's definitely something worth looking at.
He also likes Mississippi. He says buy the 0.5 point to 10. The line's currently 9.5. They are at Florida tomorrow, and he has no faith in the Gators. You and he both like Stanford plus the 18 tomorrow night. Late game, 10:30 game. Florida State, 3-game losing streak. Stanford might be one of the worst Power 4 teams in the country.
Like, Florida State's probably going to win this game, but a late game, traveling all the way across the country, late kick, like, all this says Stanford's going to find some kind of way to make this close. That is a number that they are begging people to take.
So that's just some of the games. He's also got some player prop bets. I'll try and get to those later. One NFL game, Seattle on Sunday, -3 against Houston in that game. And again, he's got plenty of player props, so we'll try and get to those later. But I want to go back to what we were wrapping up the hour with. We've talked offensive line. We've talked so much. But you know what? What is the role of Matthew Fuller? It feels like South Carolina may overdo it tomorrow after what happened last week, where he runs for 72 yards, and then they're like, what happened to Matthew Fuller? Where'd he go?
Yeah, it's kind of like a classic course correction situation. Like, all right, well, we're going to give him the carries he should have had in the second and most of the third quarter last week. And look, I think you at least have that to start with, saying, okay, we're just going to hammer this guy until he shows us otherwise. I think Faison, he kind of gets lost in the shuffle. Faison had a solid game last week. It's not like he was going out there doing nothing. So you did have production from a couple of different running backs, I think, and especially when you kind of look at the trends of the last couple games prior to LSU, it was trending towards Matthew Fuller kind of being the guy they seem to have the most faith in. I think that's the case tomorrow night as well, but a decent mix of him and Rasul Faison is probably what we're going to end up with tomorrow.
I'm with you, and you wonder if that's where South Carolina comes out and goes from the start. Is that what Shane Beamer does? Is he looks at his offensive line in the locker room right before the game and goes, we're going to run the ball. I'm going to challenge you. You are under a new cut. We are challenging you right off the bat.
You finally showed the ability to do that last week. So, like, okay, well, if this is going to be your thing now, we're going to try it. And again, you got a tough test against perhaps one of the best run defenses in the country, but why not? Give it a shot.
803-404-6100. But going back to Fuller tomorrow, over under on carries, 12.5.
That's a high number. I'll go just under. I'll go like 11.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I think Faison probably somewhere around 10-ish himself. Something like that.
And the question is, do they really just start to go with the hot hand? But I expect to see Matthew Fuller early. I expect to see Matthew basically effective. So we'll get into more of that as we roll along. Hour 3 on the way. We'll get into big picture college football. It's the halftime show. We are creeping closer to 5 o'clock, and if you're getting off at 5 o'clock, I'm sorry for you. You should get off at 2 o'clock. You should start your afternoon right now.
You know what? Tell your boss it's 5 o'clock somewhere.
Tell him Tyler Head and Bill Gunner said 2 o'clock is all you need to work to on a Friday, October the 7th. Fair's going on. Yeah. Tyler's heading to the fair after this.
That's the plan. I hope I can find a place to park. I know it's probably going to be busy.
We'll look into it. Yeah.
As long as I get a parking place, I think we're good.
And your first stop will be to?
It's whatever food is the closest.
Okay.
I don't know the layout of this thing. I'm going in blind and just going along for the ride.
So go in. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong on that. Well, I don't know. I say this. So you got your two options. You can go in nearest to the football stadium. Normally that's where you find like the fried stuff. You find like the donut burgers or whatever, the chicken on a stick. But you can
I do like chicken on a stick.
You can go in the back way, which is over by Seawells, and you can go in that way by the Rocket, and immediately, unless they've changed it, immediately to your right is Fisk Fries. And somebody please send me, because I'm blanking on it. What is the name of the corn dog place that I'm always blanking on, that I've blanked on this week to the right?
Is our guy TK Sam out there?
I'm not sure.
Not sure? Okay, if he is, I'll have to pay him a visit.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure on that. But yeah, what is the name of the corn dog place that I keep forgetting? It's got the big old foot-long corn dogs and the yellow sign. But yeah, so you can't go wrong. And you just walk right down the midway. And go in. You going to go check out some animals today?
Yeah, I didn't know about the animals until earlier today. So if I see them, I'll check them out. Again, my focus is on food, and whatever happens after that happens.
803-404-6100. Yeah, you get out to the fair this evening. Check out the lights. Like I said, it's going to be a phenomenal weekend. We got great high school football taking place. We highlighted Irmo and White Knoll taking place tonight. That's going to be a great one. You got Major League Baseball tonight. Dodgers go for the sweep. Do they get it?
Yeah, I kind of thought last night was going to be a perfect position for the Brewers to get one. That's how the vibes of Game 3s go a lot of the times. You saw with Toronto in Game 3 and now Game 4 over the Mariners. But at this point, yeah, I say Dodgers sweep it. And I think it's over and get a couple days of rest and get ready for the World Series.
And I'm letting you down, and I apologize, and I'm known to do this from time to time, and it's okay to yell at me. I'm going to get us this wheel of punishment, but it looks like, Tyler, neither of us are going to have to spin. Our bet was to get one of two teams into the World Series. We both took the Dodgers.
Yes.
You went Blue Jays. Excuse me. You went Mariners. Yep. I went Blue Jays. But it looks like we're going to get the Dodgers in, so it looks like we stay safe. Okay. For at least another wager.
For whatever the wheel of punishment would have landed on for one. We got to think of the punishments, too.
We'll get
that's
to
the
those.
thing. We got to refresh that. New options, new things that we can do. But, yeah, we'll have to figure that out.
We'll get to we're going to incorporate y'all. We are a family show, and we're going to get you, well, relatively a family show. We're going to get you involved as well, just like we've asked you to be involved today. 803-404-6100. Thank you. Good grief. Pronto Pups.
Okay.
Pronto Pups.
That's the name of the corn dog place.
That is the name of the place. That is the name of the corn dog. Good grief. Thank you to Lee, and thank you to the other texter. My goodness, that was something that was driving me absolutely nuts. Somebody else hit us with the Pronto Pups for the somebody else hit was with Dailies.
Okay.
I tell you what, 803. Let's do some of this. We got a lot to do. I may tell Terry and Jay, just sorry, you don't get the 4 to 5 o'clock hour, or the 3 to 4 o'clock hour. We got a lot we got to do. We got to get into the big picture of the college football. But I want you to send in, what should Tyler try today? What is your suggestion to Tyler at the fair? It's his first trip to the South Carolina State Fair. What is the food of choice here over the next hour that Tyler should go ahead and start slavitating over, should start thinking about? Send us in right now your picks. Thank you again to everybody who helped me with the Pronto Pups, but send those in, 803-404-6100. So, again, Dodgers, Brewers tonight, Mariners, Blue Jays, and you and I are both in the same page. It's been a fun series. but it's not been fun games, and we're pulling for a 7th, 8th, 9th inning game that's intense, that every pitch matters, that the bats matter. That's what you and I are both pulling for. Because you've got the Mariners, and I got the Blue Jays, but quite frankly, we don't really have a true dog in the fight. We want to see good games.
Yeah, give me like a 3-2 game where, again, you're hanging on every pitch going into the last couple of innings there. And, it is fun watching home runs and all that kind of stuff. But when one team ends up pulling away, as it's happened, it becomes
early,
less fun.
Too.
Early, yes. And a lot of scoring out of the gates here. But then it's like, all right, well, they're up by 10. I don't think the other side's coming back here. So, yeah, just hoping for a spirited game, if not a couple of spirited games to round this thing out. But, hey, credit to the Blue Jays, because I thought them falling to 0-2 at home, I was like, that's a tough hole to dig yourself out of. I thought they could get one, but to even the series back up at 2-all, that's impressive.
803-404-6100, so we got that tonight. There is a really good appetizer night of college football coming up, a really good night. So, I mean, we mentioned you got the high school games, you got the baseball games, you got the fair if you want to attend. But if you want to sit at home and you want to grill out, maybe you want to go hit Old Timey Meat Market and grab yourself some steaks or some chicken. Tyler, I've always watched, look, Minnesota, because of P.J. Fleck, I'll watch. Nebraska, because of Matt Rule, I'll watch.
Sure.
Nebraska, because of Dylan Raiola, I'll watch. I'll get into that game a little bit. That's a good one tonight. You've also got, and I don't know if it's going to be a good one, but you've got a fascinating game in North Carolina and California. That game's not till 10:30.
It's not. Further distractions have come out today regarding the North Carolina football program, so we'll see what, if any, effect that has on them tonight. For those that don't know, Pablo Torre, who has done a phenomenal job uncovering things.
He's become more of an investigative reporter, right?
Yeah, and he has gotten his hands on some hot mic footage from something Bill was doing with the NFL, maybe one of their NFL Network shows or whatever, but it shows you just how much control Jordan Hudson seems to have in a lot of things. It's very cringy to watch, but seek it out or listen to the podcast yourself and you can hear it. And again, I don't think it's a coincidence that it came out today before they play a nationally televised, very late game at Cal tonight.
And again, this very, very well could be your final opportunity to see Bill Belichick coach a football game.
We didn't think he was actually going to make it to this game for a while because they were on their bye last week, and things coming out and about where things stand and him asking about buyouts and all that kind of stuff. And, they gave us the whole, we're committed, statements being released and all that kind of stuff. Oh, all right. He lives to coach at least one more day, but I don't know how many more days after that he's got. There
does seem to be kind of a consensus that this very well could be the end of the Bill Belichick era tonight out in Cal, especially if they get stomped. And I'll also just say this for that game. California's quarterback, not going to try and pronounce his name, he's fun to watch. You don't know what's going to happen. It's all kind of wild and everything. But keep an eye on that tonight. It's going to be a pretty good one. And then the highlight of the night, and I'm not saying Miami's going to lose. I think the point spread is high, but the Canes, a 13.5 point favorite over Louisville at home. Friday night game, we talked about it. I don't know, 27 people in the stands, a million other things to do. We're talking about a million things to do here in Columbia.
Sure.
A million things to do in Miami. And this has that making of Mario Cristobal goes brain dead and just the Miami doesn't show up, and all of a sudden it's a fourth quarter game and Louisville and Jeff Brom pull one out.
Real quick, I want to attempt the California quarterback's name. Jaron Kiawe Saga Polutele.
Beautiful.
That's my best opportunity at that. You're right, though. This does kind of seem like almost a classic trap game for a team like Miami, and Louisville does have the best defense in the ACC. Now, they've not played a ton of quality competition so far, so take that with a little bit of grain of salt. They have done well considering the teams they've faced, and if this game was in Louisville, I'd be more concerned about Miami, it being at home, despite the fact there may not be a whole lot of people there. That does play to their advantage. But Miller Moss, remember that guy that was a Southern Cal? He can sling it. He has the opportunity to do some damage to this Miami defense, unlike really any quarterback they've seen so far this year.
Keep an eye, 13.5, and maybe Miami just drubs them, and Miami's good. Ruben Bain Jr. is really, really good. but it has that feel of this is where Mario Cristobal last year against Syracuse, was it last year against Georgia Tech, or was that 2 years ago?
2 years ago when he didn't kneel out the clock. Yeah,
it has that feel to me of it. So again, you got Miami and Louisville tonight. The game in Miami, Minnesota, Nebraska, and North Carolina and California. So that is tonight as well. We'll look at tomorrow's schedule, and we'll start to give our picks. It's going to be a great day of college football. We'll give out some picks. We'll go over some things. Kirk Cignetti is a very rich man. We'll tell you about that. Kirby Smart is having Lane Kiffin is having fun at Kirby Smart's expense. Those two now all of a sudden are a little bit of a buddy cop movie.
Yeah, they're friends. It's not anything malicious, but yeah, trading barbs a little bit.
We'll tell you about that and let you listen to those two and get you ready for tomorrow when we come back. It's the Halftime Show. Bailey's Pronto Pups is what I was going for. Bailey's Pronto Pups. And several people have weighed in and told Tyler what to do here. Tony goes with the Surf and Turf Sunday.
Okay. All right.
Don't
what? I'm intrigued to know what's in that.
Yeah, I got to admit. Send that in and let us know.
I've heard of the Steak Sunday. I know that's a thing.
Okay. Yep. I'm not gonna lie, Tony. Don't send us in. What is the Surf and Turf Sunday?
What is it? Chicken and shrimp on a Sunday?
I don't know. That's a good question. That's why I'm asking. Let's find out. Tony, help us out here. Allie from Lexington goes foot-long Pronto Pup with mustard, and she's got a point. Don't stab yourself with a stick.
See, I'm not crazy about mustard.
Okay.
That's my thing.
All right. Good call, Allie. Nothing wrong with that. Foot-long Pronto Pup. Johnny B goes with corn dog. Corn dog is the guy to go to right there. Another texter. The chocolate chip cookies in the cookie kitchen.
I've heard about these cookies. I will have to make my way over there to get those.
Jacob goes with fries with salt and vinegar.
I don't know about vinegar, but salt definitely.
Mike for president says, hey, Tyler, go to the South Carolina. I think this just happened with Captain Dave.
Okay.
Go to SouthCarolinaStateFair.org, and they have a list of all the food trucks and a map diagram. So,
for those watching on live stream, Dave has printed me out detailed reports with a map of everything I need to be looking for today. And there's apparently deep fried enchiladas. May have to stay away from that one. Got to get up early tomorrow, but I see the options.
Let's see a few more here. Giving Tyler suggestions. His first trip to the South Carolina State Fair coming up here in just a few hours, and we're trying to help him. What should he go directly for? Because, once you eat something, all of a sudden now you're a little full. Maybe the rest of the food doesn't sit.
Well, and I think my wife and I are going to get different things, so we can kind of take a bite of this, take a bite of that, sample a little bit of everything, so we can get a lot of different options in there.
CB goes with the Steak Sunday. Steak, fries, cheese, Cajun shrimp, and grits Sunday. Best stuff there.
Okay.
Yeah,
that sounds pretty good.
We got two texters to go in with fried mushrooms or shrooms.
See, I'm not a mushroom person.
Lee goes with the Bailey's Pronto Pups as well. So we're giving Tyler some suggestions. While we're doing that, also send in your score predictions for tomorrow's game. What is the vibe? I'm very curious, what is the vibe tomorrow for South Carolina and Oklahoma? Again, I've mentioned it. I'm really excited. I'm fired up. Right now, our poll question that we got out, what is the vibe check on Football Friday for tomorrow's game against Oklahoma? Is it time to get on track? 65.6% say yeah. Will South Carolina get Boomer Soonered? 31.3%. And if you're going to go to the fair, now's the time to do it. Just 3.3% saying they're going to the fair tomorrow.
Yeah, again, there are a lot of arguments to be made for both outcomes. I see ways where Carolina can win this game. I see ways where Oklahoma can win this game. Again, I don't think either team runs away with this. We're not going to get a 20 or 30-point blowout either way, as fun as that would be for South Carolina. It's going to be a four-quarter fight, and it's really going to this is one of those games that you're going to come back to if, let's say, Carolina loses, and you say, man, you got that interception in the third quarter. You had the ball at the Oklahoma 45, and you couldn't cash in on that. Like, those are the kind of things I think we'd look back on and say, if you had taken advantage of that one opportunity, you could have won this game. Like, that's what this game screams to me.
So we'll get back into some of this, but let's go around big picture for college football. And there's so many games that you can get excited about tomorrow and really plan to sit down and watch, especially after the Carolina game.
Yes, that's the benefit of a noon game or 12:45 game.
And normally I try to go in order from 12 to 7, but let's start tomorrow with the 3:30 game that I think is going to be a lot of fun. Georgia and Mississippi at Georgia. And earlier this week, Lane Kiffin offering his assessment of Kirby Smart's weight.
Off the wall question, you and Kirby, probably some of the more demonstrative coaches on the field. Who do you think burns more calories in a game, you or him?
I don't know. That's a good question. I walked by the TV and saw his press conference today, so it don't look like he's burned too many calories.
Oh, Lane, you're always good for a quote every couple weeks.
I like Lane. Tomorrow, now I know you've given some picks.
Yep.
Let's go through some of our picks here for coming up tomorrow. 3:30. Game is in Athens, ABC. Georgia, surprisingly, 7.5-point favorite. When I see Vegas with that big of a spread, it raises my eyebrows a good bit. But Mississippi, number 5 in the country. This, by the way, just Trinidad Chambliss.
Mm-hmm.
You want a Heisman moment? Here's another one. Here's another one.
My thing here is Georgia cannot get out of the gate slow. They start off slow against Alabama, against Tennessee, against Auburn last week. Obviously, Auburn and Tennessee, they were able to come back and still win those games. But you find yourself down like 3 scores to Ole Miss. I don't know if you can claw your way back into that game. Like, they have to start better. They have to play. Same thing we were critical of Clemson at in the games we've talked about them for this season. You got to play 4 quarters of football because Georgia's quite frankly not done that this year in really any game that they've played. You got to play effective 4 quarters of football because this is a team in Ole Miss that can fly up and down the field on you. They can surrender some points too, so I don't doubt Georgia's ability to score points, but you got to come out of the gate better.
You want a hot take?
Sure.
I mean, this is a scorching hot take. Are you prepared for this?
Go for it.
I put this in my Big Spur notes on our pick'em. I might be willing to take Lane Kiffin as the better coach than Kirby Smart.
Okay.
Kirby Smart has more talent.
Sure.
Okay. Talent tends to offset something. Look at Larry Coker back in 2000 with Miami. I'm going Mississippi. I'm going Mississippi to win a very close one here on Saturday. But give me Mississippi in that 3:30 game to go into Athens and pull this thing out.
And that would keep Ole Miss undefeated, and that put Georgia with his back against the wall with 2 losses in conference play.
Also, just for the record, if Mississippi does this, Mississippi becomes the top team in the SEC.
They might end up becoming the top team in the country at that point in time.
Well, they're not gonna surpass Miami and Ohio State just yet. But I think they become the clear-cut number 1 team in the country. Let's go back to the noon games, the old nooners. Now, we know about South Carolina, but at noon, ABC, LSU, and Vanderbilt. Commodores, by the way, I mentioned this earlier, and I use ESPN Bet, and I've got it kind of real live streaming here. Vanderbilt now, during the show, has lowered a point to -1.5.
Okay, so Vegas knows something here.
I don't go with that. I just, people start to pour, you get the public pours their money in.
Yeah.
Because, let's be honest, the public, and it's on TV, the public's going, LSU, Vanderbilt? Vanderbilt's favored? Give me LSU.
That's true. I've watched a lot of both these teams. I've been more impressed with what I've seen out of Vanderbilt this year than LSU. I got to go with the Commodores here. It's not even an upset at that point, right? You're expected to win, and you win the game. And the debate yesterday was, do you storm the field again? Which I don't think you do.
Yes, they'll storm the field.
You think they would?
They don't know what they're doing. They're going to storm the field. Goalposts are coming down.
I don't think you should, but they might.
Well, I'm with you on that. Yeah, I'm with you. I go Vanderbilt in this game. I will say this. Vanderbilt wins. Brian Kelly, hot seat.
Ooh, it ratchets up quite a bit. And again, given last week, nothing's impossible these days, so I'll never say never on a coach getting fired. But we talked about the mood of LSU last week going in to the game in Baton Rouge, and it wasn't great. And I'll be honest with you, their performance against Carolina probably didn't make them feel all that much better, minus the way that they ran the football. So, yeah, you go on the road and you lose to Vanderbilt, it gets more uncomfortable for sure.
Sneaky upset game because Vegas sides with the Blue Devils. Georgia Tech, number 12 in the country. Earlier, Brian Edwards had Haynes King, I believe it was 68.5 as his over rushing total for a player prop. Vegas, Duke -2.5. That's a noon game on ESPN.
Yep.
Where are you going with this?
I go Duke. I like him at home. Manny Diaz, good defensive mind. They played well these past couple weeks once they got into ACC play. By the way, this is basically for a spot in the ACC championship.
Okay.
In my opinion, I think Miami's going to be there regardless. Florida State's dropped off. Virginia's still pretty good.
SMU doesn't have a
loss. That's worth noting as well. But both these teams undefeated in conference play. Georgia Tech's still undefeated overall right now. But I don't know. Georgia Tech is a team that gets themselves in a hole and comes back. I think Duke is maybe a little bit too good for them to come back on.
Haynes King plays for Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech has the best player on the field. Haynes King will will this team to victory. It's going to be you saw the Wake Forest game. I don't know what.
It was, yeah. They shouldn't have won that game.
Should not. something crazy will happen. Give me Georgia Tech in that ball game, and a very, very, very close one. We're going to get to the afternoon games when we come back, but real quick, Washington and Michigan. Biggest surprise for me last week was Michigan getting throttled out in Southern Cal, and we're going to do Southern Cal Notre Dame coming up. But Washington on the road, noon game at Michigan, early clock for Washington. Wolverines 5.5.
Yeah, I never like the teams that have to travel for these early games, and we've seen that kind of run rampant in the Big Ten so far. Michigan suffered that last week, having to go out to Southern Cal. So, yeah, I'd probably lean with Michigan.
803-404-6100. We'll come back. We'll get to the other 3:30 games and the night games and break those down. And, again, Kirk Cignetti is a rich, rich man. And also, what are we expecting tomorrow on College Game Day? We get a...
Oh, that's right. We get the exclusive interview.
Yeah, what are we expecting? We'll talk about that. You're listening to the Halftime Show. Woo! 2:33 on a Football Friday. Man, Tyler, I'm telling you, and we've done this show now. You're kind of seeing me get a little bit healthier, but we've done it 3 weeks prior to my stint in the hospital, and then come back, and I've struggled. Poor Tyler, I fell asleep in the middle of the show yesterday.
I wasn't going to mention it, but that did happen.
I'll call myself out. We had a little couch out there. I dozed off a little bit yesterday. I kind of struggled, but today I feel great. I'm excited about the weekend. I'm excited about Friday night. There's great stuff going on. If you want to do baseball, you got baseball with the Mariners and the Brewers. If you want to do Dodgers, Brewers, that's incredible. You got high school football. We've talked about that. That's incredible. You got the state fair taking place. I know there are other events taking place, but, man, it's going to be a great night. College football is going to be a lot of fun. We've covered that. Minnesota, Nebraska, Miami, and Louisville. Our buddy Chris, who texted in a good bit, is listening down in Fort Lauderdale. Sent us a text. He's got a picture. Looks like he is ready to start tailgating down there, so good luck to Chris and his Hurricanes tonight. I still got him on upset alert, but good luck to Chris down there in terms of pulling out a victory. So we'll do that. I've asked you to weigh in on some of the score predictions coming up for tomorrow. Texter weighs in. Defense transfers in. They needed experience, and now is enough. Should show it tomorrow.
There's a case to be made that they're starting to hit their stride. And, again, even in the loss to Missouri, defense played well enough for you to be there at the end of that game. Again, you didn't get enough plays on offense there at the very end, but they held them to minus the missed tackles, obviously, held them to a respectable amount to where you were still in that game there at the very end. Obviously, the Kentucky game went pretty well. You, all things considered, did fine against LSU last week. So maybe this is the game against another offense that's trying to find themselves a little bit, where the defense really goes out there and dominates tomorrow, which would be awesome.
Another texter weighs in and says, I'm in on the Gamecocks until they totally stink, and I haven't seen that yet. So I'm optimistic about tomorrow, and I believe that comes from Phil.
Well, and that goes back to the conversation we had earlier on in the week, where I think a lot of fans hinge on this game because you're 3-3 right now, and as you proved last year, you can take a situation like that and really turn it around and shock a lot of people. So there's a lot of hope and belief that I think people still have in saying, okay, you've done it before, do it again. Obviously, it's even more daunting this time around considering the caliber of teams you can be facing in the next couple weeks, but nothing's impossible. But it starts tomorrow because that's the most gettable game. You take care of Oklahoma. I don't know, say you beat them 17-10 or something like that. So, okay, took care of that. Now here comes Alabama. Then comes Ole Miss. Then comes A&M. Like, it's one bite at a time, but it starts with tomorrow. And, again, it's a gettable game.
In the sake of keeping anonymous people so that their picture doesn't show up outside of the gate and people are on the lookout for them, one of our texters says, in the spirit of being right next to the student section at Willie B., you got to make the pro move and sneak in a Tito's mini bottle for your lemonade and a Hero.
Okay.
I don't know about the Hero, but yeah, the Tito's.
The Hero's going to be harder to hide.
So, yeah, do that. 803-404-6100. Let's get back to games tomorrow. We kind of covered the noon segment. 3:30 tomorrow. We've already talked about Georgia and Mississippi. Real quick, don't make this long, but we got a text in from Jacob, and he said, what does Tyler think about Mike Bobo?
I don't hate Mike Bobo like a lot of people do. I think he's a perfectly okay play caller. I don't think he's anything special. I don't think he's going to be up for any, Broyles Awards for Assistant of the Year. He's fine, right? Could he do better? Sure. Could he be worse? Sure. I think he's just kind of that happy medium, to be honest with you.
All right, 3:30 tomorrow. We mentioned Ole Miss and Georgia. You went...
I went Georgia. I think it's going to be tight. I think it's going to be a four-quarter fight, but especially being at home, I'll lean towards Georgia in that one. It's also a revenge game. Kirby, with the exception of Alabama, really good when he sees a team a second time around, and they did lose that game on the road last year to Ole Miss.
There is something about Georgia. Georgia's not, and part of it's parity and transfer portal and recruiting. Georgia's not who they were in the early 2000s where they were rolling. They're still really good.
Well, they're not as deep as they were. Kirby Smart benefited from recruiting really well and having 3 and 4 guys deep at every single spot. So when you lost half your team to the NFL in the first 3 rounds, well, guess what? There were guys just as capable coming up behind them. He's trying to figure out and work the transfer portal to replicate some of that success. But the rapid movement of players in college football has hurt Georgia a lot.
803-404-6100. So back to tomorrow. Texas A&M and Arkansas. A&M's only a 7.5-point favorite tomorrow in this game. If Arkansas would stop fumbling the daggone football, who knows where they're at?
Going to sound like last week. This is a very popular upset pick, and I will say it. I don't like Bobby Petrino as a person, but he's a heck of a football coach. Can dial up an offense. They scored, 31 last week against Tennessee. This is a trap game for Texas A&M. We've been, I don't know if we're waiting for it, but we're always kind of expecting, okay, at some point, the fun's going to stop, A&M's going to lose a game, and then they kind of lose 3 out of 4 or whatever and go back to being the A&M that we always expect. And this kind of seems like that kind of game. They've played high-scoring games. They've won shootouts with Notre Dame. They played slugfest with the likes of Auburn. They've gapped Florida pretty easily last week in that game. But and this is a game that is an old rivalry. And I'm not playing in Jerry World anymore, but tricky place for A&M tomorrow going to Arkansas.
Tomorrow, 3:30, this game is not one you're going to want to watch at all because it's a 27.5-point favorite for Indiana. But Kirk Cignetti, a brand new, very rich man, takes to the football field. And I'll tell you about that, but let's listen. Kirk Cignetti yesterday talking about his contract extension.
My wife, Manette, and I love Indiana University, Bloomington, the state of Indiana, the people we've met. We have very strong feelings about President Whitten and Scott Dolson. And, we've accomplished a lot here in a short amount of time, but still have a lot of work to do. So I couldn't be more proud to be a Hoosier, and I plan on retiring as a Hoosier. And the way that this state has embraced us and our success in football has meant more to me than anything else. So I just wanted to get on camera and let you know that Kurt Cignetti is going to work daily to make Indiana the best they can be.
Indiana, well-known football school, has just put out an 8-year, 93-point, was it 93-point?
Like 92.8.
97. Anyway, it comes down to $11.6 million a year.
Yes, through 2033, where he'd be 72 years old at that point in time. I think we can say pretty comfortably he's not going to take the Penn State job, which that job being open is why this happened this week, obviously. But look, we said it earlier on this week. Cignetti's got it made there, man. Like, they have put a lot of resources to say, hey, we're going to do what we can to help you win. You're at a place where the expectations are not super high. If Kurt Cignetti, let's say they went 12-0 this year, won 2 college football playoff games, made I guess that'd be the semifinals, and he just retired on the spot, he'd be revered as a legend. He'd have a statue out in front of their stadium, floating on yards, because they just have not known a lot of success in football. And I really think he has the ability to keep this thing sustained for a long time, given how hard he's come swinging out of the gate so far.
Yeah, a lot of babies would be named Kurt in the state of Indiana. 3:30 tomorrow, SMU and Clemson. Cade Klubnik, very questionable. SMU does not have a loss in conference play. They've lost to Baylor and they've lost to TCU. They are still in the hunt for the ACC championship for a repeat appearance. Clemson is favored by 5.5.
Yeah, I don't like the prospect of a team that's already struggling now having to go to an unproven backup quarterback in Chris Vezina. We'll see. I have no clue what's going to happen. This could be a thing like, hey, wow, this guy's a whole lot better. Maybe he should be starting over Klubnik instead, or it's an adjunct disaster and SMU walks out of there with a win.
I'm going to SMU, and I kind of go SMU big tomorrow in that ball game. We'll see what happens. 3 massive ones tomorrow night. Let's see what we can get to, and then we'll close it up for this segment. Let's start with Tennessee, Alabama tomorrow. Number 11, number 6, Alabama 7.5-point favorite. Brian Edwards, our Vegas Insider guy, liked Alabama minus the 8.
I do too. I just don't think Tennessee's defense is good enough to slow down Alabama. Might be a lot of points scored on both sides, but again, Alabama's playing some of the best football right now.
Southern Cal, Notre Dame game in South Bend tomorrow night, 7:30 under the lights. Lincoln Riley is due for a signature Southern Cal victory.
Yeah, Notre Dame's 105th against the pass. Southern Cal is a top 5 passing offense, as you would expect under Lincoln Riley. I think Southern Cal walks in there and gets the victory.
Tyler and I just think we exactly are alike. That's why we do a good radio program. We're on the same page. I'm with you. Lincoln Riley gets his signature Southern Cal victory. Notre Dame's completely knocked out of the college football playoff. And all of a sudden, keep an eye on, they got one loss.
Yep.
They got one loss. Keep an eye on Southern Cal. Again, 7:30 tomorrow night. Last one, big one tomorrow night. BYU and Utah. Going to be a lot of fun.
And that's at BYU, right?
Yep.
Man, back and forth game, very physical. Again, BYU undefeated up to this point. Utah's only loss is Texas Tech. It's going to be splitting hairs. I'll go BYU.
This is one of the best rivalries you don't know about. It's going to be the most physical game of the day. I'm going to tell you right now, there's a lot of good games on. Have a TV on this game tomorrow night. It will be fun. These two teams hate.
Yes.
And hate is a strong word. They hate each other. We'll come back and wrap up the program. By the way, I'm going BYU on that. Give me the Cougs. We'll come back and wrap everything up. It's the halftime show.
Yeah, Brandon's doing well. That was tough when he went out last week in the, was it the first quarter, I believe, or second quarter? That was a tough loss for us to lose him for the rest of the game. Brandon has practiced this week, and I forget how we're listing him tonight, but I expect
I think it's listed as probable.
Yeah, I think he's either probable or off tonight. I did it a few hours ago. I can't remember. There were so many names on there. I can't remember.
I understand.
Brandon should be good to go for Saturday. He practiced today, said he felt good, so hopefully he'll continue to progress over the next couple days. Case and Henry, he will be out. Nolan Hay will be out. Shed practiced today, should be good. Is he 100%? No, but he should be available.
It's not long term though.
No,
doesn't sound like.
No, he was out working to get back the last couple days and actually practiced today and looked good out there. So I'm confident that Shed would be available on Saturday. And then Marquis practiced yesterday and today.
Oh wow!
And optimistic on both those guys.
That was the injury report from Shane Beamer last night, and I'm not putting anybody down. I don't want to see words pop up on internet sites. Oh, Gunner's putting down offensive players. We didn't see enough of Nolan Hay for me to be like, wow, we're missing someone.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that they thought enough of him to give him an opportunity is something, but...
Well, did they think enough of him, or was it like
hey, we don't have anything else, so let's give this guy a shot. So, yeah, fair point. Again, you have rotated through 3 centers to some degree, and none of them have grabbed the reins of the job, so to speak, which goes back to your idea that, hey, maybe Marquis Anderson can do that tomorrow. And again, I'm not opposed to it. If Sean Elliott wants to drastically alter what the starting 5 looks like, that's fine by me. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. At least you tried something. But, yeah, you're down a couple bodies like Case and Henry, like Nolan Hay, who would have been an option at center. And we'll see what they craft together tomorrow night.
I'm pulling for Marquis Anderson to go trotting out there at the center position. I hope Shed Surratt is okay. He hadn't played great, but
it's kind of one of those things. He's a freshman. You know, you expect some growing pains, but again, everybody else is struggling on the offensive line too.
Yeah, but him on one side, Trevon Ball on the other. Again, I'll go back the Nolan Hay thing. We didn't see enough. We didn't see enough from Nolan Hay, in my opinion, for me to be like, okay, we're missing something. And nothing against Case and Henry. I think he's gotten better, but I don't think you're having a drop-off with Tree Babalade.
Yeah, this thing is nobody's been a superstar on this offensive line. Case and Henry can make the argument, probably your best overall guy, significantly better than that. I mean, you can make an argument. I'm not saying definitively one way or the other, but you could say he's probably been one of your better ones, certainly better than he was a year ago because he struggled quite a bit last year. But, yeah, nobody's a superstar. Nobody's irreplaceable at this point in time. And yeah, any option that you want to throw out there, fine by me.
The other part to that is what happens with Josiah Thompson. No offense to Josiah Thompson, but we can call it, these guys get paid NIL money. They can be treated a little bit differently than they used to. He's not been good, and that's being fair. That's being very fair. Does Jatavius Shivers get a chance tomorrow? Or does, you know, and again, this is the fun part. Does Sean Elliott go, you know what, we're going to try to treat Babalade at left tackle and put Shivers at right? Like, we don't know what he's going to do.
Yeah, we don't, and that's the exciting part of this is that it's a new perspective, a new coach in charge of this that could have radically different ideas that maybe he's had for a while now that obviously he couldn't implement because Lonnie Cheesley was that coach, but you could have a massive overhaul. We don't know. 30 minutes prior to kickoff is when you typically get the idea when they're going out there, run through their warm-up drills and stuff like that. So, you know, break out your binoculars or keep a keen eye on what's happening on the field before the game, and you'll find out who that starting 5 is pretty quick.
Tomorrow, during College Game Day, James Franklin gives an exclusive interview with the Game Day crew. What are we expecting?
James Franklin's a very cordial guy. I don't think he's going to go scorched earth on Penn State or whatever, but, you know, I'm sure he'll say, disappointed, didn't work out, blah, 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 and I don't know, maybe he teases looking for a new job in this cycle with a lot of jobs open right now.
I also think James Franklin might be relieved to be out of that job. It just... the weight and the stress on him, I think he might be. He knows he's going to get another job. He knows he's not done coaching, but you can catch that. All right, tomorrow, Oklahoma, 5.5-point favorite in this game. New offensive line coach for South Carolina, John Mateer. We don't exactly know his health. I know you've given a pick.
Yep.
Where are you going?
I can't look past how dominant this Oklahoma defense is and how much South Carolina's offense has struggled. That, to me, is enough to unfortunately have to lean towards Oklahoma 17-13.
You're a Georgia guy. I'm biased. I'm a homer. I have complete faith. I'm taking me and the kids. Ansley and Austin are going. It's going to be a beautiful day. I'm thrilled about that. Listen, I will say real quick, I am a huge believer in who you play, when you play, where you play. Oklahoma's coming off the Texas game. They've got Mississippi next week.
Yep.
12:45 kick. I don't think they're geeked up to play South Carolina tomorrow. And I love Sean Elliott being back. I'm excited. 17-13. Gamecock. It's the ugliest game you'll see all day. Gamecocks win 17-13.
I'll take it.
Well, we'll discuss this on Monday. Y'all have a great weekend.
Real quick before we get out of here, let me remind you about our friends over at Tilly's Warehouse.